Hey y'all, what up YouTube? I am back again with part 2 to I slept with my sister's boyfriend. So check out my stories on the Dante Show Network. Like the video, leave me a comment, and then go subscribe to my channel at Forensic 8888. I'll be uploading videos on there soon, but still subscribe to my channel, show me some support. Like I said, Forensic 8888. Now, warning. Listeners, discretion is advised. That's all the warning you're going to get. All right, part 2 of I slept with my sister's boyfriend. So, yeah, I got all dolled up, and you couldn't tell me I wasn't fine. Like, I was trying to give old Tim something to look at. So, I was walking down the steps, real confident, and then Knowledge saw me. He was playing the Nintendo. So, when I reached the bottom of the steps, I remember he paused the game, looked at me, and said, "Where the F you think you going?" And I looked at him and jerked my neck. I was like, "I'm going to the store." And he said, "I bet you won't make it to that door." Man, well, I guess I wasn't that damn brave because I did not go to that door. Like, I just stomped my feet and went up the steps. And then when I got in my room, I was like, "You not my daddy?" Man, I was so blown. Like, I wanted to be with him so bad. It was just eating me up inside. And I was just emotional. Like one day I was just breaking down crying. Like I wanted to tell my mom and tell my sister about Tim, but then I was like, well, my sister going to fight me, and then I'm worried about what my family would say to me. I didn't want them to look at me different. So, cuz I used to hear people in the neighborhood talk bad about my best friend's Kim, her sisters. And they used to call them little fast ass little hoes and stuff. And I didn't want to be one of them. So once again, I ain't say anything. So the reason why Tim and I would have so much time together was because a lot of times Lisa did hair, and people in the neighborhood used to pay her a lot of money to do their micro braids or whatever. Micro braids can take between like 8 to 12 hours, and I'm pretty sure she was taking breaks, or sometimes she would be off doing her own thing. Then she'll get with them. But and my mom and Knowledge used to be at work, so with them not being around as much, now I'm really acting bold. We already knew when everybody was going to be gone. So we just planned for us to be together when they left. One day he came over and we were in my room and we were laying in my bed and Tim started holding me. So, after that he grabbed me from behind and started dry humping on me at the same time. And I already knew the routine, so I took off my clothes, laid on the bed. He was like, "It's time for me to make love to you." I was so nervous. I wanted this to happen, but I was still nervous. So we did the usual. He did the finger thing, and he undid his pants. Um, he held his little thing in his left hand. Then he said, "Don't be scared. I got you." So I'm not even going to go all the way into the details, but I'll say that although he didn't use all of it, it was still horrible. Tim was rough. Tim was aggressive. Like it seemed like once he got in there or tried to get in there, like he just went wild on me. And he made me cry. Yeah, he made me cry. But while I was crying, he was still going. He ain't stopped. And it was nothing like I seen on the movies. And when we were done, it burned and I was in pain. And I told him, I'm like, "I'm hurting. My mom gonna find out." And he acted like he was mad at me. Like, this my first time. So Tim said, "That's what happens when you do it the first time. It's gonna hurt like that. But it'll feel good afterwards." I just kept crying. And Tim was not a gentleman anymore. He told me, damn. He told me, "You wanted this. You wanted me to do this. What you crying for? This what you wanted." And then he was like, "Man, hold on. I got something for you." So he went in my sister's room and got me some type of pain medicine. And I don't know what it was, but he gave it to me and it took a while, but I started to feel a little better. He told me to go wash up, and then before I go and take another one before I go to bed. And I mean, I healed physically, but mentally I was so messed up. Like it was crazy. I remember Kim told me her first time hurt. But I just didn't want to do it anymore. Like, I used to be in my room thinking about him, and then I would just start crying. I was a mess. It was so crazy. And after that, I was trying to avoid him. So one day, I woke up to go to the bathroom, and I seen that somebody slipped a note under my door with some money. And the note didn't say anything, but it had a heart on it. I knew it was him. It had to be him. Another time, he slipped money under my door, and he drew on the money, and it said hi. He started leaving little money and notes under my door. But the notes didn't really say anything. It'll be a heart, or it might say hi. It was never too much on there. And when he was at my house with Lisa, I would just stay in my room or hurry up and go outside to avoid him. He just started acting real crazy. When I was home by myself, he used to knock on the front door. And I knew it was him because I would sneak to the window and, pull back the curtain, and I'll look at him just standing there knocking on the door. One time he said, "I know you see me right here. I saw the curtains move." Y'all, I was so shook. So one day I was alone in my room doing something. I don't know what it was. And I heard the front door open. Then I heard the foyer door open. So I'm like, oh, that must be Lisa. I heard footsteps come up the stairs, and then my damn door flew open. It was Tim. So now I'm scared because I've been trying to stay away from him. He walked in my room, and I was like, get out or whatever. And he was like, yo, what's up with you? Why you acting like this? Again, y'all, I was so shook because I didn't expect to see him. I thought it was Lisa. So I'm like, just get out. And he did not move. He did not budge. So I was like, where my sister? He said she went to do somebody's hair and she left her house keys on his dresser. And then Tim was like, now answer the effing question. What's going on with you? Why you acting stupid? Y'all, I just started breaking down crying. I was scared. Lisa wasn't around. My mom wasn't around. Knowledge wasn't around. And this dude, he was just crazy. So he just really surprised me. Like, I really wasn't expecting that. So he walked over to me and said, man, stop crying, and started hugging me. And he was like, look, I ain't mean to yell at you. Stop crying. Just stop. I don't like when you cry. So he did his best to try to console me, and he started talking real nice to me. And then he was like, well, why you acting like this? You got me going crazy. I've been thinking about our last time together. I ain't mean to hurt you. This time is going to be different. He didn't even ask me if we could do it again. Then he said, when you cry, it makes me angry because I think you don't like me. Then Tim started telling me about everything he seen me doing when I was avoiding him. Like, he noticed me a lot. And I think that when he said that, it may have helped a little because for some reason, I think I wanted people to notice me. But Tim was just good at mind games. Although people used to call me pretty, I don't remember people giving me a compliment on my charms or my gigapet or something. Like, it was just certain little stuff that he would say to me that I didn't hear other people say to me. So anyway, he started touching and rubbing on me, and he was like, I'm not going to do that to you no more. I'm just crazy about you. This time is going to be okay. So he didn't even ask me if we could do it. He was just basically telling me. And I fell for the okie doke. I did. So he helped me open up a little bit. We did the finger thing for a little while, and it still hurt, but it wasn't as bad as the first time. Afterwards, he told me the more we do it, the less it'll hurt, and it'll start to feel good. And once again, like I said, I fell for it. Then everything went back to usual. There were times where I wanted to be around him, but I didn't want us to have sex. Like, for some reason, the sex just felt wrong to me, but I still wanted him to like me. I was real delusional. And in my head, he was my knight in shining armor. I was so crazy about Tim. Like, my day didn't even go right if I didn't get to see him. Dude had me on cloud 9. So one day I was supposed to go somewhere with my mom and I waited outside for her, but I saw Kim. So I walked over her and I told her, like, I got something to tell you. So even though Tim told me not to tell anybody what was going on, I just couldn't hold it in any longer. And Kim was my best friend, so I just had to tell her. She was like, girl, what? So I whispered, I was like, I had sex. And she was like, no, you didn't. How? Well, who? Your crush? So I smiled and she was like, yeah, it's your crush. So Kim said, wait a minute. I know you're about to leave, but you got to tell me about it when you come back. See if your mom will let you stay on the porch tonight. I said, okay. Then she said, well, I guess your sister must have broke up with your crush because I saw her kissing on Tim. So I said, Tim is the one I had sex with. And she said, wait, what? Did you tell your mom? And I was looking at her like, no, I'm not about to tell her myself. That was a stupid question she asked me. But my mom was coming out, and then I said, I'm going to see you tonight when I get back. So Kim was just standing there looking at us while we pulled off. When I got back home, I didn't see Kim. I rarely saw her because we started school again. Kim was in high school, and I went somewhere else. Lisa broke up with Tim and started dating this dude named Ryan. Y'all, Lisa is still with Ryan to this day. They are married, and they've been together for over 20-something years. So back to the story. So their breakup was hard on me because I really didn't see Tim as much. I had to go and hunt him down at this time. I remember one day I was walking home from school and I was still wearing my uniform. So I walked to the corner store and I was asking people like if they seen Tim. I wasn't even embarrassed. Okay, so time goes on. I finally caught up with Kim and we were talking on my back porch. So we started talking about sex. Then I brought up the subject about Tim. So she said, did you really have sex with him? And I said, yeah. Then I started telling her about everything that went on. She was like, so your mom don't know? And I told her no. I forgot what she had to do, but Kim was like, hold on. She was going to be right back. She had to go get something out the house. Okay, so while I'm waiting for her on the back porch, Knowledge girlfriend Mimi came outside. And y'all, they got married also and they had children together. But at this time, Mimi was just his girlfriend. So she said, I heard some of what you were talking about. You out here having sex? And I was like, yeah. So honestly, I was just tired of hiding it. Like, I didn't even really care anymore. I went through too many emotions during the summertime, and now I can't even find him. So I was just like, yeah, well, I did. And she was like, who did you have sex with? And I told her I had sex with Tim. And she was like, and that's what I thought I heard you say. So I think that Kim heard us talking because she never came her behind back outside. And then Mimi started asking me all these questions. And I was just telling her what happened. And she was like, that's why you be acting like that. And so I'm like, okay. So Mimi went inside and told Knowledge and my mom my business. But honestly, I just didn't care anymore. I was sick of hiding it. Like, so everybody was real mad. But they didn't seem like they were mad at me. I really thought they would be mad at me, but they weren't. They were mad at him. But this made me feel some type of way because I wanted to defend him. And then I got mad because Knowledge, when my brother heard about what happened, this is what Mimi told me. He wanted to go fight Tim. And I guess Mimi jumped in the car with him. I believe she was trying to talk him out of it. So she told me that they seen him on the corner. And then my brother hopped out of the driver's side car to fight. But he never switched the gears. So the car was still rolling. She said she had to jump out of the passenger side into the driver's side to stop the car or whatever. Then she went to go get him. Tim was standing on the corner with his boys. So Knowledge walked up and started beating his ass. Mimi said Tim's friends were going to jump in, going to jump Knowledge. But they heard Knowledge say, you had sex with my little sister. So they backed up. Everybody knew Tim and Lisa was a couple. but they also knew Lisa was our oldest sibling. So they let him beat Tim's ass, and somehow he got away. So I'm gonna fast forward the story a little bit. I was real messed up behind it, behind Tim, and I felt like my family was wrong for running him away like that. After that, I didn't see him again until we went to court. So the trial was hell, and I had to go through a process of continually repeating what we did. Then I had to tell a room full of adult strangers the same thing. But I was told that my story never changed. I remember wanting to give up, and I just wanted it to be over with. I didn't want to talk to these people about Tim anymore. What I didn't remember was seeing my sister in the courtroom. And although this was like over 25 years ago, I remember her husband Ryan was there, and I was thinking like, why is he here? Yeah, I was young. I didn't understand. But bro, you know I love you. So, but seeing his face actually helped me out in trial, because being up on the stand is scary for a little kid. And I had to sit up there by myself. So I felt alone. And I looked at him a few times and it helped. So I talked to Lisa about this a few weeks ago, and I told her, like, I only remember seeing Ryan in there. So she said, girl, I was there. And I'm like, what? Lisa said, when I was on a witness stand, she made sure that she sat directly across so I could see her. Lisa said that Tim's lawyer purposely moved himself in front of her so she wouldn't be in my line of view. And I guess it was some type of tactic that didn't work, because I still spoke my truth. So Tim took a plea bargain, but he still went to prison for over a decade. I don't know how that works. And he was getting beat up in protective custody. So salute to the people that handled that for me. Thank you. Our story made it to the news and in a newspaper. In an article, his lawyer said something like, I told Mimi that I had sex with Tim just so I can get out of trouble, or something like that. So I purposely didn't mention that when I was having sex with Tim, Lisa was in her early 20s. And Tim was in his mid to late 20s. And I was still in elementary school. So, yeah, it was a lot. For many years, I was in and out of therapy. And I was crazy. Like, but when people called me crazy, I took offense to it, because although I was doing stuff, that they thought was crazy, I didn't want to be labeled as crazy. I didn't want people to see me like that. But that's just how they saw me. I was real violent. I only had about a few friends, because everybody else like, yo, something wrong with her. She weird. And I was hurting on the inside. Like, I was really hurt. I used to go around and just be like, man, I should spit on you. Like, that's what I'll be thinking about people. Like, I should spit on you. Why are you saying hi to me? What's up with you? And then I got to the point where as though I'm fighting dudes now. Like, I was just violent, and I just wanted you to hit me. I used to be so angry. I wanted you to hit me. I don't care if I would win or lose. I wanted you to hit me. I don't know what that was going to do, but my head was messed up at the moment. I was real messed up. So mentally, I suffered a lot. And it's like every time I went to therapy, they made me remember stuff that I was trying to forget about. And I'm not going to lie, it was frustrating. Like, for years, it was just frustrating, because I felt like, man, this is not working. It's making me worse. Like, I'm getting angrier. So, but what I realized, that once everything was out, once I finally stuck to it and everything was out, that's when the healing started to begin. At one point in my life, I had to deal with something called Stockholm Syndrome. So I used to think about, like, he told me not to say anything, and I said something anyway. That's why he's in jail. And I used to blame myself for a lot of stuff. Like, I knew I was wrong, or my mom never taught me to do that. Like, anything, I would just beat myself up. And I tried to always paint Tim in a good picture, not realizing that he was grooming me. So it took a while. But one of my therapists made me face the truth. She said, Tim watched me grow up. We lived on the same street. Our families knew each other, so he knew I was quiet. Most of the time, quiet children usually get targeted or looked over. She said, when you walk to the store, he would say different things to you to see what works. You heard him, but you didn't give him your full attention nor reaction until he called you little Byron. People knew you loved Byron, and he used to flaunt you around. Poppy at the store was trying to warn you about Tim. So Tim probably was asking Poppy about what you be buying from the store, and that may have been how he knew what was in the black bag. He was studying your patterns. Tim knew you was getting money from somewhere, and you going to the store to buy whatever you want. So he took a chance with giving you money, but he used to buy kids ice cream in front of everybody without any problem. So Tim probably figured that no one was going to question him about giving me cash. People may have thought it was normal for him to do something nice for the kids, but she said, but when your family didn't confront him about it, he knew you never said anything. So now it's time to take it further. She said, I believe some of his friends were pedophiles also. But when Uncle Jimmy, he was one of the old heads at the corner store. She said, but when Uncle Jimmy told you to stop being nosy, it's because he was putting you in a child's place. He may have disliked the way his nephew acts with kids or something. I don't know. So Timmy couldn't reveal his true colors in front of him. That's why he ignored you. But you thought he was just being immature. When he hugged your sister and looked at you, that was a test. Then he told you that Lisa would probably beat you up for sleeping with him. Everybody knew Lisa was mean and she would fight anyone. He knew you were scared of your sister. You told me Lisa was mean, but you never told me she was being mean to you. And I'm like, damn. Like, she really broke it down. And she went on. She said, and Tim bought you charms for your bracelet. You had a lot of very small charms. Your family may not have noticed all of your charms, but they would have noticed that jewelry box in your room or a new CD with a different artist on it. Not the same one you already had. When you started acting strange, the family thought you were depressed over Byron. And also, although Lisa didn't know he was like that, she still wouldn't have left you alone with him. That's why he had to sneak around her to see you. She was saying, like, Tim knew they paid a little bit more attention to you than you thought they did. Then she broke it down further. She said, you seen adult movies and adult magazines, so now you have a false sense of what sex is. You had a feeling that he was doing something wrong to you, but you knew that people did it. And Tim knew you were a virgin, so that's why he had to slowly break you in with his fingers and his tongue. But Tim was starting to get frustrated and impatient, and he wanted to speed things up. So he guilt tripped you into oral sex. He raped you, then scolded you like a child when you cried. And sometimes scolding a child can make them feel guilty or ashamed. Plus, Kim already told you sex hurt. So when he said it was going to hurt, you believed him, and you believed that you deserved it because that's what you wanted. So you did manage to hide from him after that, but most likely you wanted to make it right with him, and you wanted him to be your boyfriend without the sex part, but you would sacrifice having sex, again, just to please him. She really broke it down, and it took me a while, but I had to realize he was weak and he could only challenge a damn elementary school student. So then she said, and since I was older now, Tim probably wasn't worried about me. So if it wasn't for jail, he would be grooming another elementary school student. That was a hard pill to swallow. But anyway, that's my story about the time that I slept with my sister's boyfriend. So you let me know what y'all think. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel at Forensic 8888. All right, y'all. I'm out.